المتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah for another opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah alone. And we bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam is His servant and His messenger. Whosoever the Almighty Allah guides is really guided. And anybody who goes astray has nobody to blame but themselves. Today is a Friday, the 15th day of Rabi'ul Thani, 1446 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which corresponds, I believe, with the 18th day of October 2024. If you want to check the status of any country, if you want to know the morality of any country or any community, you first need to check how their families are. Because families make up streets, and streets make up villages, and villages make up countries. For you to understand and really know how countries are being run, you need to check the status of the families. Families are very important components of our lives. Each and every one of us here comes from a family. The Almighty Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah Al-Ra'd, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِّن قَبْلِكَ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيَّةً. That verily we sent before you messengers. The Almighty Allah is telling the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Almighty Allah has sent messengers before you, and what did the Almighty Allah do with them? He gave them spouses, wives, and descendants, kids, meaning families. In another verse in the Quran, the Almighty Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families from hellfire. From these two verses, we understand that the position of the family in the community is very, very important. If we want to have stable communities, we must have stable families. If we want to have successful communities, we must have successful families. If we want to have peaceful communities, we must have peaceful families. If the family is destroyed, then the street is destroyed and the nation is going to be in tatters. If we want to have a thriving community, we must have a thriving family. If we want to have a functional community, we must have a functional family. And this is non-negotiable. If you want to destroy a community, destroy the family setting. Break the family up. Introduce this idea of independent women or independent men. Introduce this idea of single parenting. You can do it alone. You don't need a man to do it. You can do it alone. You don't need a woman to do it. And 80%, these are statistics you can check. 80% of the families that are single parenting are led by women. That's one. Number two, kids that grow up in single parenting homes that are being led by women are 8 times prone to go to jail. Kids that are growing up in single parenting led by women are 8 times prone to commit murder. Kids that grow up in single parenting homes that are led by women are 8 times prone to drop out of school. These are statistics that you can go and check. So this idea of independence, I'm a free person, I can do whatever I want to do, I can just do anything I want, it is not freedom, it is not success, it is rather eating into our fiber and killing us. We need to understand that. A couple of years ago, I was having some conversation with some young Muslim women in another state. And they told me they are not interested in getting married. but they want to give birth. I was like, how? And these young Muslim women, upright Muslim women, I'm not talking about promiscuous Muslim girls. I'm speaking about upright Muslim girls who come from good homes, and they're telling me this. They said, we don't want to get married. I said, why? They said, the men are not there. And I'm like, I can see guys around. You're telling me there are no men around. The men are there. You don't want to get married, but then you want to give birth. How is it going to happen? They said, Sheikh, no, we're not going to commit zina. We're going to do artificial insemination. I was like, wait. You want to go get a random man's semen. You don't know him. You don't know his history. You don't know his aqidah. You don't know his medical history. You don't know nothing about him. It is just some bank. You go there, they pick this semen and they put it into you, and then you get pregnant and then you give birth. Why? Because you think you are an independent woman who can do whatever she wants. The major crisis we face today, not only in America, but in the rest of the world, is the missing man. Men are missing in the families. I'm not talking about men who are incarcerated. No, I'm speaking about men whose bodies are only in the home, but then their thought process, their minds, their influence are outside. It's a crisis. It's not about only putting money from your pocket and putting it on the table. It's about being there as a man, being a part and parcel of the life of the family. That is your role as a man. And the Almighty Allah made it very clear that you are going to be held responsible for the waywardness of the family. Listen, Islam is a patriarchy, accept it or not. And there's nothing wrong with being a patriarch. There's nothing wrong with that. The world was developed using the strength of men. That's how the Almighty Allah wanted it to be. Civilizations, past and present, were established by men. That is how the Almighty Allah wanted it. This building was put in place by men. The steel factories, there are men in there. The laborers are men. This is how the Almighty Allah wants it. So take this misogyny, family, take it out, throw it out of the window. It's not something that has telepathy with Islam. The Almighty Allah gave you men the power. The Almighty Allah gave you men the responsibility. When the Almighty Allah said, "Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa," that men have the power or have the control of a woman, it is not a title that He put on your head or a crown. It is a responsibility. And you'll be held accountable for that responsibility on the day of Qiyamah. That is why He told you, "Qu anfusakum." You the men, protect yourselves and your families from Jahannam. So your number one role as a man in the family is to make sure that you are protecting yourself and your families from going to Jahannam on the day of Qiyamah. If you are shaking that responsibility, the first and foremost and the most important of all those responsibilities that the Almighty Allah placed on your head, you need to go back to the drawing table. How is the salat of your wife in the house? You don't know. How is the ibadah of your kids in the house? You the man, you don't know. Who are the friends of your kids in the house? You don't know. What grade are they even in school? You don't know. What do they have on their phones? You don't know. What do they see on their phones? You don't know. You only buy for them the gadgets. You buy the clothes. You are a very responsible father when it comes to feeding them, buying them clothes, putting money on the table, paying the bills in the house. Yes. But then that is in the dunya. What is going to happen in the akhirah? With all due respect, some of us men do not even know that our wives are not praying unless when you want to go have, some intimacy with them. And then she tells you, I'm on that part of the month. And you say, oh, but then her salah, you don't care. Her siyam, you don't care. Her sadaqah, you don't care. Her nafila, you don't care. Kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatihi. All of us are shepherds, and the Almighty Allah is going to question us concerning the flock that He gave us. Each and every one of us men here will stand in front of the Almighty Allah on the day of Qiyamah and answer questions about our families, our wives, our kids. There is a reason why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Istawsu bin nisa'i khayra." live with integrity with women. The Almighty Allah placed them in your care so that you protect them, you provide them, you give them what they need and guide them. That's why the Almighty Allah gave you that. It is not a crown on your head. It's a responsibility. It's a duty that you must adhere to. Don't shirk that responsibility. What is the atmosphere in your house like? You the father. What's the atmosphere in your house like? Is it Islamic or is just business as usual? Some of us fathers, we smoke weed and we even send the kids to go buy weed for us. Yes. What are you teaching the kid? Weed is normal. That's what you're teaching the kid. If you, the father, drink and then you send the kid to go buy alcohol for you, you are telling the kid that it's okay, he can do it. If you, the father, is the one who is having all these haram subscriptions and then you are giving the password and the passcode to the kids to also watch those haram subscriptions, you are telling them it's what? It's okay. Tawus Ibn Kaysan was walking and he had a pain, so he was limping. And his kids were behind him, they were also walking and limping at the same time. And then he asked them, why are you walking with a limp? They say, you are our dad, and the way you walk, that's how we are walking. Your kids and your family should see in you a role model in the house. You, the father, you are the role model in the house. If your kid has a role model outside and it is not you, you failed. If your kid sees you, the father, in the house, but your lifestyle is not appealing to them, the way you do things is not enticing and seductive to them, and it's other people outside whose lifestyles are the number one thing that they do, they copy, they refer to, and they adhere to, it means you're not doing well as a father. You need to sit up, you need to tighten your belt. You need to. Your kids need to say it vividly in you as the man. Your wife should be comfortable to say, this is my man, this is my husband, I am behind, he is leading the family, I'm comfortable with him leading the family because I know he's going to lead us to Jannah. Your wife should have that belief. She should have that trust in you. She should have that confidence in you. You can only do that if, number one, you understand your purpose as a man in the dunya. Number one, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. The Almighty didn't create you for anything except for you to come and worship the Almighty Allah. That's it. That's your number one purpose. Everything of your life should revolve around this purpose, that you are here to serve the Almighty Allah. You are here to worship the Almighty Allah. You are here to revere the Almighty Allah. You are here to obey the rules and the regulations of the Almighty Allah. And everything is going to fall in place for you. That's one. Number two, you must also understand that as a man, you should always upgrade yourself in this life, in this dunya. Knowledge is very, very important. You have no excuse. As a man, read, listen, lectures, research. That is who you are. You need to research. You need to read more as a man. You need to understand how children behave. You should read things on psychosocial behavior. You should read all this stuff. A young man came to the masjid at Wasatiyah. He's someone who frequents the masjid. He came to me, he said, Sheikh, I have some questions. I said, what's it? Sit down. He said, I believe in the Quran. I believe in the Almighty Allah, but I'm having some doubts in me. I said, what's your doubt? And he started enumerating some of them. And I understood that, number one, it's because of his lack of knowledge in the deen. He's been following some pages on YouTube that belong to some ex-Muslims who are confusing people on YouTube. So they quote verses of the Quran out of context, they explain it out of context, they distort the meaning, and because he's not learned, he's confused. And the guy is speaking fluent Arabic. When reading the Quran, he could listen that, no, this guy he knows, he's breaking down all these words and verses, and he's confused. I sat him down for almost 2 hours. We went through the verses one after the other. We brought the English translation side by side and I explained to him, we brought hadith, and he was like, oh, thank you very much, Sheikh. I think things are a bit better, because he said, I'm scared if I die in this situation, what will I tell the Almighty Allah if I have doubts in me? As a father, do you know if your kids are going through some of these crises? You know very well that the age that we are in today, kids that are growing up today, especially in this part of the world, are faced with different challenges. Different challenges. The age of technology today has brought with its own challenges. These liberal West ideologies of freedom and emancipation has brought with it all different kinds of filthy ideologies and chaff that are being forced down the throat of our kids. How do we mitigate these problems? It's on you. Listen, brothers, I might be hard on us today, but that's the reality. And the sisters, don't giggle. I'll come on you next time. Because yes, some of the problems we face in the community are from some sisters who are evil, who are toxic, who are very dangerous. It's a fact. Yes, there are some brothers who are shirking their responsibility. Some brothers are not taking care of the sisters. Yes, it's a fact. These are facts. From the position that we sit in the masajid and the kind of complaints that we have from both men and women, we understand that. People come to us, wives come to us and say, our husbands are not feeding us, they're not taking care of us. I'm the one who have to go out there to fend for the family. And what does it do? If you see him in the masjid, you believe, you think he is a companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. But he doesn't take care of his family. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. You need to have your thobe should not drag on the floor. You need to have your miswak. You need to be in the masjid on time. It's good, but go take care of your family. Go do that. It is not compulsory for you to be in the masjid 24/7. No. Come and serve the masjid. Serve the Almighty Allah. Be an upright Muslim, but don't forget that your family also has rights over you. Your wife has rights over you. Your kids have rights over you. They need you to step up to be the man that you are. They need you to step up to be the responsible father that you are. They need you to step up and be the one who provides for the family. They need you to step up even if you earn $1 an hour, for them to know that yes, my father is out there, my husband is out there looking for halal sustenance for him to be able to provide for us. But you can't fold your arms and then you say, the Almighty Allah is going to feed me. Really? No. That's not how the Almighty Allah operates. During the time of Umar ibn Khattab, he came into the masjid and he found a young man, Salah, Nafila, reading the Quran for 3 consecutive days, straightforward. Umar ibn Khattab asked, who is this guy? They said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, this young man, his iman levels are very high. He's been in the masjid for 3 days. He's just praying, reading the Quran and stuff. And Umar ibn Khattab asked just one question. How does he eat? And he said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he has a brother in the market who brings him food from time to time. Umar ibn Khattab said, his brother in the market is more beneficial to the ummah than him. Umar ibn Khattab got a stick and kicked him out of the masjid. Go fend for yourself. My brothers, if you don't have the means to take care of a family, why do you bring someone else's daughter into your life? Why will you do that? The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya ma'ashar al-shabab, man istata'a minkumul ba'ata. He said, man istata'a. The one who has the means. You have no means? What did he say? فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصِّيَامِ. You don't have the means to take care of someone's daughter? Fast. That's what the Prophet told you. Fast. That's it. But then you come bringing someone's daughter into your home, and then in the end, you are not paying nothing, no bills, no rent, no food, no clothing, nothing. When she talks to you, turn her into a punching bag. We have some of those complaints. Some women are complaining their husbands are abusive, they are punching them, beating them in the homes. One thing surprises me about some of us men. You punch your woman during the day. You beat her up. At night, and then you come and then you're like, will you please move aside? I want to sleep next to you. What nonsense is that? You punch her at night, during the day, and at night you come, honey, in the morning it wasn't me, it was shaitan. Shaitan? You are the shaitan. You are the shaitan. My brothers and sisters, today, our message is about the ideal family. The ideal Muslim family. And the ideal Muslim family starts with us, the men. And until the men will rectify our affairs, our families will continue to be in these problems. Kids that are raised in absent father families are about 70% prone to have mental and behavioral problems. There's a reason why the Almighty Allah made you a man and put you in that house. Your presence alone is a source of discipline for the kids. And this has been established statistically, scientifically, that the presence of the man in the house, it goes a long way to put a lot of things right. Your presence alone in the house has a spiritual effect. Not only a physical effect, a spiritual effect in the house because of how the Almighty Allah created you. If there's a man in the house, the kids do not misbehave. If there's a man in the house, the kids understand that there is going to be reward and there's going to be consequences for their actions. If there's a man in the house, the kids understand that I can't misbehave. I need to do things right. That is who you are. That is your essence. That is your purpose. Do not check it. Do not put it away. Do not put it down the drain. Rise up to the occasion and be the man that the Almighty Allah has made you to be. This is who you are. And this is how you're going to be judged in the dunya before you even come to the akhirah. And we need to understand this plainly and simply. That for us men, we have the responsibility of guiding our families. When we shirk that responsibility, the Almighty Allah is going to question us. And the Almighty Allah made it very known in the Quran to Adam. إن هذا عدو لك ولزوجك فلا يخرجنكما من الجنة فتشقى إن لك ألا تجوع فيها ولا تعرى وأنك لا تظمأ ولا تضحى. The Almighty Allah said, Adam, you and Hawa, after the incident, he told them, before the incident actually, he told them, you see Shaitan? He's your enemy and your wife's enemy. فلا يخرجنكما من الجنة. Do not allow Shaitan to kick you, both of you, out of Jannah. And then he said, Fatashqa. But it's only you, Adam, who is going to suffer if the two of you are kicked out of Jannah. Understand the language of the Quran here. He was addressing both of them. He said, Shaitan is the enemy of you two. Don't allow Shaitan to kick you two out of Jannah. If he kicks you two out of Jannah and you leave Jannah, Adam, you are the one who is going to suffer. He didn't say Hawa is going to suffer. Understand that. When he kicks you two, he didn't say Fatashqa, the two of you are going to suffer. He said no, Fatashqa anta Adam. You Adam, you're going to suffer. Meaning, when you come to the dunya, going through all the challenges, going through all the obstacles to fend for the family is your responsibility, the man. It's very clear in the Quran. That's why the Almighty Allah said, Ar-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisa. Is because you have that duty, that responsibility to take care of the family. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد. We're speaking about the ideal family, and then we're speaking about the role of men in the ideal family. Women cannot be left out in raising families. They are mothers, they are wives, they are sisters. They bring in the feminine aspect of marriage to calm things down when the husband is hot, to bring ease and peace and tranquility in the home when the husband has psychological and emotional challenges. That is why the Almighty Allah said, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you have some sakina, some peace to the wife, from the wife. My sisters that you're listening to me, you must understand one thing. That you must understand who you are as a woman and what role you're supposed to play in the family. If you want to wear pants and belts like men, it's going to be a problem in the home. We men have our egos. It's a fact. And no man wants a mannish woman in his life. No man wants a mannish woman in his life, and no man wants a masculine woman in his life. If you want to enjoy your husband, be that natural, pure, feminine person that the Almighty Allah has put in you. Those feminine qualities, that beauty, that be that woman. And you have your husband like a baby in your hands. Am I lying, brothers? No need for you to answer. If a man comes from his jungle and his hunting and his job and he's tired, he comes in home, salam alaikum, he opens the door, and then the first thing you tell him, I told you to go get bread from the market. Why didn't you get the bread coming? Why do you come home empty-handed? You're driving him out of the home, and then you're killing his spirit and you're turning him mad. You call your husband, he's from home from work. He's coming home from work, and then you call him, oh, Annie, we don't have water. Can you get a case of water from whatever, grocery store? And please don't forget, we ran out of eggs. And you list some items to him on the phone. You didn't text it to him. You just called him, and then you told him, and he's driving. He's come from work. Maybe he's had a very bad day with his supervisor. Maybe he's had all these kind of troubles, and then he's thinking of even paying the bill because it's the end of the month. He must pay the rent. He must pay the utility bills, and he's looking at almost $2,000 of that. And then the money is not coming in, and things are not moving on smoothly, and he needs to get kids new bags, he needs to get them new clothing, new sneakers. The kids want $400 sneakers, and then he's not making that amount of money, and then he's driving, and the police are also there by the roadside, and everything is going through his mind. And then you call him telling him that, can you buy eggs, can you buy water? And then he goes to the grocery store. The first thing he sees are eggs. He picks the eggs, he enters the car, he comes home, there is no water, and then you meet him. I told you to get water. Why didn't you get water? You're very useless. Women, you understand the problem now? You see where the problem is now? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he saw Jibreel for the first time in Ghar al-Hira, what happened? He ran home, right? When he got home, what was he telling Khadija? Zammiluni, zammiluni. Cover me up, cover me up. وَلَقَدْ خَشِيتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي. I've seen something very scary. What did she say? I thought you were a man. Where are you running away from? Some man just met you outside and then fighting you and then you're running away. I thought I married a man. No. She said, Kalla wallahi la yukhziyaka Allahu abada. She said, Wallahi, Allah is never going to disgrace you. Allah is never going to leave you alone till you are first. And what did she do? She sat him down next to her, and then she was repeating to him his good qualities. You help the poor people. You help people who need. You're always there for the vulnerable. You're a good person. You're a charming person. She was mentioning to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam his good qualities, and that calmed him down. Imagine today you run from the street into the house today and tell your wife, some boys are after me. He's going to, I thought you were a man. Go out there and face them. The subject of the day is very broad. It will take us hours, if not days, to discuss some of the different, minute details of the ideal family. That each and every one of us has a role to play. The husbands have a role to play. The wives have a role to play. And finally, the kids have a role to play. Children that you're listening to us today. So long as your parents are the ones who provide everything in the house, you need to shush it and listen to your parents. That's it. Listen. We are in the 21st century, and even Elon Musk is going to Mars. He can go to Pluto if he wants. We are Muslims. And in Islam, kids respect and listen to parents. Kids obey their parents. Kids do not argue with their parents. Kids do not talk back at their parents. This is Islam. Even if your father is 2,000% wrong, you don't talk back at him. You don't argue with him. If you have a different opinion, wait when the dust settles, when everything is calm, you go to him because he's your father. He gave birth to you. He nurtured you. He provided for you. You live in his house. He pays the bills. He pays the utilities. He brings food in the home. With all due respect, he even bought the underwears that you're wearing. And you think you have the audacity to talk back at your father? You think you have the audacity to talk back at your mother? Listen, even if you are 2,000 years old and your mother or your father are still alive, you are still a child. That's it, Islam. Listen, even if your parents are not Muslims, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. If your parents are not Muslims and they're struggling with you, they're trying to convince you, to pull you into kufr, the Almighty Allah says, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. Don't obey them there. But then, وَصَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. But then live with them with utmost respect and regard. Live with them peacefully. Live with them with respect because they are your parents. Even if they are not Muslims. Even if they are not Muslims. So, the ideal Muslim family, each and every one of us has a role to play. The men have a role to play. The women have a role to play. The kids have a role to play. All of us have a role to play. And each and every one of us is going to be questioned on the day of Qiyamah based on that. We need to start taking our notes. Because on the day of Qiyamah, it's not going to be easy. For some of us men, Wallahi, I can say that. For some of us men, it's not going to be easy. And for some sisters, it's not going to be easy. We're going to the masjid sometime. I want to mention the masjid, we were in a car. And another car was in front of us. A sister and her husband. This sister was in niqab. And she slapped her husband in the car. Pow! I felt it in the other car. She slapped him. Pow! And I felt it. I don't know if she's her husband or her brother or her son or who. Listen, women. So long as we men are not allowed to put our hands on you, you have no business putting your hands on us. And when you do that, and then we lose our control, and then we lose our senses, there's something that they call buy one and get two free. I'm not encouraging that. But then you must understand that. You don't go to the zoo and then, provoke the lion. You don't go to the zoo and provoke the lion. The lion is in the cage. It's not out there. You don't go there and tell the zookeepers, the lion is I don't want to provoke him. No, it's buy one, gets two free. I'm not encouraging that. But women must understand that you have no business putting your hands on a man. Because the man has no business putting his hand on the woman. Because the Prophet Muhammad said, "Innahunna awanun indakum." They are treasures for safekeeping in your hands. You took them in the name of the Almighty Allah. You made them halal for yourselves in the name of the Almighty Allah. Do not molest them. Do not abuse them. Do not treat them badly. Treat them the way you want to be treated, and treat them accordingly, because you have a question to answer on the day of Qiyamah, however you live with your family. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس اليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. A couple of days ago, maybe a week or more ago, it's been a year since the bombardment of Gaza. We asked the Almighty Allah to safeguard our brothers there. in Lebanon, in Syria, in Yemen, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, wherever that there is turmoil in the Muslim world. We ask the Almighty Allah to bring us peace and stability. And even our city here in Philly, we ask the Almighty Allah to grant us peace and stability. We're going to the polls. I don't care who you want to vote for, but then ask the Almighty Allah to grant us peace before, during, and after the process. Because we're here, this is our country, this is where we live, this is where we have our business, this is where we have our families, this is where we have everything for us. If there's chaos here, it's going to affect all of us. That is why it's important that we pray that the Almighty Allah grant us